Hi, Tina Peters here.
See, today they go after you if you're investigating or like.
All right, hello everybody, and welcome back to The Truth Matters. Without Tina Peters, but with Tina Peters here in spirit. So my name is Apollo. You guys all probably know me, and it's good to see you all back here again. For those of you who may miss this live, and please remind everybody we did adjust Tina's schedule so that we could focus more on giving important updates and things regarding her case. We're working on, a few ideas, but right now the big thing that really needs to happen is we need to get Tina out and we need to focus on working the problem. So we have been doing, a new guest host every day of the week for the last few months. And right now we're just slimming down. So every Friday here on Untamed Nation, also on on the other channels if you're watching on X or anywhere. Every Friday at noon Eastern time, same show time, just Fridays only. We're going to be focusing on just giving updates on what's going on with Tina and reminding everybody how they can support her and how they can, how they can direct energy appropriately and effectively towards Tina. So I'm going to remind everyone, just as we get started right away, there is one place and one place only. If you would like to support Tina, that you may do so. You can, of course, do whatever you feel is right. But the only place that is really guaranteed to go to Tina is tinapeters.us. There's been a lot of discussion and back and forth about this. So I'm just telling you, I think last week we played a message from Tina as well. Thank you. But Tina Peters US, this is the only place. If you want to give to her, you can support her. If you want to give to her personally in her life, right at the top, there is a donate link to the Give, Send, Go. If you'd like to donate to Tina's legal defense, if you scroll down just a little bit on the page, right here, you will see donate to Tina's legal defense. You can click on that. This page will take you directly to a donation page that is specifically legally laid out as a trust that must go to Tina's legal defense. So there's no confusion. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I want to say thank you to number one. And I know there's been a lot of heated stuff lately. Believe me, I know. And everybody wants Tina out, and everybody wants, people want a lot of things. But I want to say thank you to the legal teams. I want to say thank you to those who've been working to help Tina. I want to say thank you to those who have been supporting Tina personally. I want to say thank you to those who have been keeping her spirits up. I want to say thank you to all of you who have been praying for Tina, for those who have been continuing to talk about her case. And thank you for all the good work, the people who are, who are working behind the scenes. I really appreciate everything. And I really appreciate everything. Sorry, I'm getting a million messages right now. Linda, thank you. Hashtag free Tina Peters. If you guys can all share that one at least. We did have a great shout out from our great President Trump. And he put up on Truth Social a message for Tina regarding her case. So I will put this up right now. And it was pretty to the point. You can see this on my X, on Tina's X, wherever it is you want to watch. And it was very simple. I just said, thank you, real Donald Trump, free Tina Peters. And his True Social post was the radical left Colorado attorney Phil Weiser ignores illegals committing violent crimes like rape, murder in his state, and instead jailed Tina Peters, a 69-year-old Gold Star mother, worked to expose and document election fraud. Tina is an innocent political prisoner, being horribly and unjustly punished in the form of cruel and unusual punishment. This is a communist persecution by the radical left Democrats to cover up their election crimes and misdeeds in 2020. The same party that flies to El Salvador to try and free an MS-13 terrorist, cruelly imprisoning, perhaps for life, a grandmother whose brave and heroic son gave his life for America. Colorado must end this unjust incarceration of an innocent American. I'm hereby directing the Department of Justice to take all necessary action to help secure the release of the hostage being held in the Colorado prison by the Democrats for political reasons. Free Tina Peters now. So that was nice to see. I know a lot of people have been saying all kinds of things about why we need to where's my okay, I'll center myself. But why they need to come in and get her out, all kinds of things. And believe me, I'm just as frustrated as all of you. Tina certainly doesn't want to be in there. She is in good spirits lately. We've been talking to her. I have a couple of messages today that I'm going to play. But I want to give a couple updates specifically on the case. And first, let me pull up one of the latest filings. And so as a brief review, so number one, I want to talk because there's a lot of angles on this, and I see a lot of people talking about different cases. And frankly, sometimes I get confused when, I'm hearing about things being filed and what's going where. But we have to remember there are several things going on, and there's independence between a lot of these things. So, I mean, you have Tina's appeal. This was filed Monday. The appeal is filed. There's also, you have the DOJ statement of interest. You have the habeas that has been filed for Tina federally for her rights. So there are several things going on. There was also the amicus that was filed as well recently. And I'll pull up, we put a version of this. You can, of course, find the PDF that's on the site. But there is also a version of this on our website that we formatted so you can jump to different sections. So I'll read that and show you where you can find that as well. But you basically have, here's the deal. You have Tina's appeal going on at the state level, which it is what it is. We have to wait for that appeal process to go on. The big problem that we have right now is that Tina has been locked up and they're not letting her out, and they've moved her around now several times. We don't need to talk about, reasons why, though we probably have a good idea, but she should be out on appeal. That's really right now what we want, is that Tina should be out on bond for appeal. There's absolutely no reason that she should not be. Zero. It makes no sense. All the way through her process, from the way that her trial was handled, not allowing her to introduce evidence, and on and on and on. Not including relevant facts regarding the people who lied, including people whose lies ended up being the reason that she was sitting there in the first place, and the entire media shitstorm that came after her and framed the trial in many ways as something that it wasn't. You still have, in fact, news outlets that are going out saying that Tina Peters tampering with election machines and, election stuff and all kinds of things. And, these people are going to get sued. I'll tell you what, because these people are still lying and not doing their due diligence, or they're simply covering for the evil that we have in the judicial system and the state of Colorado, who've allowed this to go on. Yes, Jerry Wood is a liar. Jerry Wood is a lying pastor. Well, there's more than a few of those. Best is yet to come. K Colorado, Lynn Boss, Charlie. Good to see you all as well. But anyways, the appeal has been filed. Full stop, done. So again, thank you to the legal team who has got that filed. Everyone, please continue to pray that justice is done and that the weight of actual truth is present in the decisions that are being made there. But we want her out. So there was a habeas. We have a hang up now. I'll check out Kyle Clark's latest show. If you want to, I can pull that in if you want to send me something. I haven't seen his latest show. But you have the DOJ statement of interest into the case. And that is separate from your appeal process at the state level. There was also an amicus, which I mentioned. I need to pull that up for you all. And I have that here, so I'll show that to you all. Now, again, this was filed on behalf of a few people, but big thank you to Peter Tickton and the group that filed this and worked on this. And we touched on this a little bit before, the amicus brief on American Rights Alliance in support of habeas corpus petition for defendant Tina Peters. And so if you go to this, I will put this in the chat, and I will also put it, if you're on Rumble, it was already posted on my X account and Tina's, I believe. But if you go to the top here, you can click on any one of these sections. And this is why we put it up on the site and format it this way. You can click on any of these and it'll take you right to that section. So if you already haven't read the full PDF, great. But we just wanted to, give you a web version that you could go and jump around a little bit easier too. But this goes through a few very important things. Of course, you have, if we look at arguments, and I'm just going to look at arguments for right now. If you all want to go and look at this in more detail, I implore you to do so. There's still a lot of people who are ignorant about the details of like Tina's case or why she was actually there. And the media has done a great job lying, like apparently Kyle Clark has done again. Okay, so here's a quote. This is a communist persecution by the radical left Democrats. Trump wrote, Weiser's office prosecuted. Oh, okay, let me just look at this article, and then I'm going to keep on chugging. I want to see what Kyle Clark said. So this is from Denver 9 News. Trump calls for the release of Tina Peters. Okay, I won't look at that. That's not too important right now. I'll probably pull that video in later, just so you all know as well. Tonight on the on Untamed, we're going this case is going to be very much tied in because we have someone who has come in with some information and their own experience regarding some of these individuals, Judge Matthew Barrett and others. And, when you see people who do such horrible things to others and are so egregious with the lies that they tell and their abuse of power and their twisting of, processes that are supposed to be legal and fair, sometimes you have to wonder. If you look at like the federal system, you look at what's going on with Doge, now all these NGOs and everyone's saying, oh my God, how dare you look at us? You just need to trust us. We're using your money, but you just need to believe us. You don't need to see what we do with it. The same story with all these corrupt prosecutions all over the country, like we've seen with January 6th, all of these things. Just like we see, Dominion. Oh, yeah, well, you pay for us. Like the voting machines, so many things in the court system. You pay for it. Yeah. We're supposed to be your system. We're supposed to be operating by rules. It's supposed to be transparent. And here's the role that we're supposed to fill, but don't see the code. Don't see behind the wall. Don't see the black box. You don't need to, and you're not allowed to, and you're not allowed to ask questions. It's the exact same thing. And you have to wonder, do these people just pop out of nowhere? No. They have a history of this. There's a pattern of this. And I think over the last several years, the public has been able to see more and more that this is not an isolated incident, and that the people who are doing these things usually seem to have a very sordid history of doing the same types of things. And that is no exception regarding Judge Barrett and the people involved in Tina's prosecution and imprisonment right now. And some of those are going to be laid out for you. I'm going to tell you, it is a wild story. But you're going to hear about that tonight. So at 4 p.m. Eastern, make sure that you are here, because you're going to see and hear from someone else who has dealt with Judge Matthew Barrett and how he treated Tina Peters and others in that county and those connected to the legal system. Treated Tina is far from the first time that these people have done things like this. These are not good people. But I'm going to continue here because I can ramble and get mad all I want. You have argument preservation of election records. This case we've made repeatedly. This has, of course, been talked about excessively. But again, herein lies one of the big problems, is that Tina Peters was doing her job. She is a witness to things that prove that there is massive problems and that fraud occurred. She provided the American people with information we would not otherwise have had regarding the stolen elections if she had not done her job. And the media would like to say this is all about she tampered with election stuff and all kinds of things. And Jenna Griswold says she's a horrible person and it's inexcusable. And the AGs and all these people say, oh my God, but really that's not what Tina Peters is actually sitting in jail for legally. And much of that was obfuscated and twisted around during her trial. But again, it explains in this amicus that she was doing her job. She brought people in to make a backup. She was seeking to preserve records. I had these images taken to preserve election records, help determine whether counties should continue to utilize the equipment from this vendor. These are not complicated issues. She continues, it appears the county's voting system was illegally certified, configured in such a way vote totals can be changed. These are all things that we know. I'll skip ahead. More arguments. Violating official immunity. This is, of course, is tied into a number of the things going on. Because again, remember, you have separately, you have her state appeal, you have the habeas corpus, which is filed federally. You have the DOJ's statement of interest related to the habeas corpus. Because remember, the DOJ at this point is coming in looking for a violation of her civil rights. So, do we have an awareness of what investigations might actually be happening, or are they aware of all the details of the criminal investigations? And when I say they, I mean the people who are currently have been assigned to to take a look at this issue in Colorado for Tina. I don't know. I don't know what their awareness of, or what their awareness of the things that are going on with criminal investigations regarding any of this in Colorado, or if there are any occurring there. They are here looking for that issue regarding her civil rights violations. So I'm going to go through this, and then I will get to some of the latest filings. But again, violating official immunity. And this happens, because she was working as a state official. Prosecution of Tina Peters violates federal law regarding the preservation of election records. This is something that we've talked about excessively, and so many others have as well. Many probably better than I have. But again, 52 U.S.C. 20701, retention and preservation of records and papers by officers of elections, deposit of custodian, penalty for violation, requires that every officer of election shall retain and preserve for a period of 22 months of any general, special, or primary election of which candidates for the office of president, vice president, presidential elector, member of the Senate, House of Reps, resident commissioner from the Commonwealth, etc., are voted. All records and papers which come into the possession relating to any application, registration, payment of poll tax, requisite to voting in such election. So you can go on and on. These are all, this is like standard stuff. And these are things that have been swept under the rug and ignored. Federal law preempts under supremacy clause. This is something that, again, we've talked about and has been thrown around a lot. This is, something that was addressed and has been kind of pushed aside by the judge in this, because basically what we've seen, and we covered this, I believe, last Friday, I spent some time on it. They basically said, well, you need to go away because you have not, while you're going and filing at the federal level, the judge said, well, you haven't met your requirements at the state level in order to show that you've exhausted all remedies. And so this has been kind of a game of being kicked back and forth. And then you had, the Attorney General Weiser and the Department of Corrections. This was the back and forth that we talked about last week and sometime before that, saying, listen, you haven't met these requirements. Now the DOJ is involved for a question regarding her violation of rights because of the habeas. So there's a lot of back and forth going on right now, and it's separate from her appeal. But a lot of these issues that are laid out in the amicus brief are very much related and very much on point with the things that have not been allowed to be fairly adjudicated and allowed into the conversation legally and in the media. And so I'm going to run out of time, but Whistleblower Protection Act, they mentioned this as well. She was prosecuted unlawfully by Phil Weiser, requested by complaint of effectively Peter's supervisor, Jenna Griswold. So they lay out the Whistleblower Act, affiliated with the wrong people, under complete authority and discretion of part of her job of county clerk. Ms. Peters asked the County Mesa, Colorado Information Technology Department to oversee the installation of the software upgrade. Department declined. It had no experience or training in the computerized voting system involved. Again, this is an excuse and a little, some backflipping that we've seen all over the country because they say, well, we don't have the expertise. We don't know what's going on. But you can trust them. You can trust these totally. We've seen this in many states. And it's always a very cherry-picked angle because when people start to ask questions, people start to request documents, people question these things. They always go back to, you can trust the machines. The machines are safe and secure. And this is, Jenna Griswold, all the people related to Tina Peters, safe and secure, trust in the machines, no problem. You can't question the machines. Judge Barrett, of all people, he went up and got pissed and lambasted Tina for eroding public trust, LOL. But then as soon as, you have many of these situations where they say, well, we don't know how to do it. So Dominion came in. We have to go to the vendor. That's what they always say. And they deflect after saying you can trust them. It's great. It's fine. But then they say, well, I can't tell you more details because we're not the expert. They will in one breath tell you, yeah, we're the foremost authority on the state. We know how these systems work. I'm a whatever expert. I'm a subject matter expert. We've seen these in Colorado, here, again, all over the country. And then they say, well, we got to ask Dominion. One of the most laughable, hypocritical angles, by the way, that backflipping is one of the most ridiculous things about the narrative regarding elections and, trusting the machines over the last several years. But anyways, again, go to this, read every argument. Now I'm going to get into... Oh, and again, that is you can go to untamednation.com to find this. I'll actually pin it. And I'll put it in the comments everywhere, and I'll put it on my X again. I'll actually do that right now. So if you guys want to read this specifically... go to @RealTinaPeters on X. You can also go to mine. To my X @ApolloPappas. So I just posted that again. But there were more filings now. So this one filed on the 5th, so just a few days ago. And before I read this, I want to read some of the comments because I only get one day a week with you guys here on the show. From that, Kyle Clark. Tina is in prison because of her own actions. Weiser told Colorado Politics in response to Trump's post, a grand jury indicted her and a trial jury found her guilty of breaking Colorado's criminal laws. No one is above the law. Added Weiser, the Colorado Attorney General's office will continue to defend this criminal conviction in post-conviction proceedings and on appeal. Yeah, they're just bad people. Jeff, no problem. Good to see you, man. Griswold says Tina Peters is a criminal who compromised her own voting equipment to try to prove Trump's fake lie. She told Colorado Politics we can't allow him to rewrite history or use his lies to create 2 tiers of justice for the American people. That's rich, man. That's rich. Look, crazy chipmunk. Gammy, good to see you. Yeah. Again, Linda, thank you. Security breach. Oh, but there are no charges for a security breach. No. Yeah, we best is yet to come. I agree. We all can't. Yeah, the judicial system right now is the biggest problem. Absolutely. The federal rules require more electronic data than the state requirements. That's why it's a big deal. Yep. Barrett limited the scope of testimony and evidence, which prevented Tina from presenting a defense. Never allowed to show her intent. Correct. Yeah, his statements to her were absolutely appalling. When it was like 20 minutes. If you all missed that, it was 20 minutes. What Barrett said. Calling her a narcissist and all kinds of things. She was doing this to be famous, and she compromised trust in the systems. It's ridiculous. Apollo Mustache deserves its own show. Thank you, Nuke. Good to see you. They also deny computer experts' knowledge of what is going on, but then when Griswold released the BIOS passwords, it admitted that they are only computers and any IT monkey can service them. Yeah, isn't that funny? Again, same double standard. Tokyo Drum, good to see you. I'm afraid the justice system is not going to be... Takes time, believe me. I know. I absolutely do know. All right, so let's go to the recent filing. May 5th. This is U.S. District Court, District of Colorado, Tina versus Moses Andre Stansel as Department of Corrections Executive, and Phil Weiser, AG. And we have another response. Order to show cause. Petitioner Tina Peters is convicted and sentenced state prisoner in the custody of Colorado Department of Corrections. Initiated this action through counsel February 2025, filing an application for writ of habeas corpus. February 11th, the court directed respondents to file a pre-answer response addressing the potential applicability of the affirmative defenses of timeliness and exhaustion of state court remedies. And again, this is what we were talking about before. This is going back and forth, this idea. Respondents filed a pre-answer response contending Ms. Peters' claim were improperly exhausted in the state court. Peters filed a reply arguing for the rejection of the exhaustion defense and seeking to have respondents answer the merits of her petition. For the reasons discussed below, the court will order Ms. Peters to show why the application should not be dismissed as a mixed petition. We'll go through background, etc., etc., etc. So now there are a few things going on in this. Now the order says, regarding legal standards, that a writ may not be granted unless it appears that the petitioner has exhausted state remedies. No adequate remedies are available at the state level to protect the petitioner's rights. The exhaustion requirement is satisfied once the federal claim has been presented fairly to the state courts. Fair presentation in Colorado requires the federal issue to be presented properly to the Colorado Court of Appeals, but review by the Colorado Supreme Court is not necessary. A claim must be presented as a federal constitutional claim in the state court proceedings in order to be exhausted for federal habeas purposes, even if state remedies have been properly exhausted. As to one or more claims presented, a federal habeas corpus application is subject to dismissal as a mixed petition unless the state court remedies have been exhausted for all claims raised. In claims 2 and 3, Peters alleges she was denied due process under the 14th Amendment and that she was denied the right to immunity under the Supremacy Clause and Privileges and Immunities Clause. A review of records attached indicates these claims were not fairly presented in her motion for bond pending appeal filed in CCA. Claim 1, denial of Tina Peters' motion for bond appeal violated her First Amendment right to free speech. The court finds that Ms. Peters fairly presented this claim to the Colorado Court of Appeals in her motion for bond pending appeal. And basically, to avoid dismissal of the entire action, Ms. Tina Peters may elect to dismiss the unexhausted claims 2 and 3 and pursue in this action the technically exhausted claim, Claim 1. Alternatively, if Tina Peters wishes to pursue all claims in federal court in a single habeas action, where'd I go? In a single habeas corpus action at a later time, the instant action will be dismissed without prejudice as a mixed petition, and Ms. Peters will be required to file a new application for a writ of habeas after she exhausts state remedies for the unexhausted claims. If she pursues this alternative, she is advised that a 1-year limitation period applies to any new habeas corpus action she files without regard to the instant action. Okay, so enough reading. I wasn't following along with all of that for you guys, sorry. This will be available, and it should already be available, I believe, as well. Those have been posted on Tina's X. But basically what you have is that they have turned around and said, listen, you've exhausted state remedies, or the burden for exhausting state remedies for the free speech. For the other two issues that the habeas corpus was filed with, you have not. So again, you have her appeal that has been filed Monday. That's in motion. You have the habeas corpus, which has just been responded back to again and said, counts 2 and 3, no good. You haven't met the requirement. Counts 1, fine. So Tina can either roll with the habeas with just the free speech issue, which is still a strong case, and let go of the other two. Or if they choose not to do that, want to go with all three, then it's going to be at least a year, essentially. Now, given that we have this habeas corpus, which is currently also tied to the amicus and tied in with the DOJ's investigation, essentially what this judge has kind of done is put that all on hold. Yes, the free speech issue is strong by itself. I went into a lot more detail on that a week or two ago. But basically, that is what they are saying. So they are giving her basically a year to refile the entire habeas petition. Yes, he was. Yeah, thank you to Trennis. And again, to the team who filed that amicus for her habeas filing. But that is what's going on. We have the appeals process at the state of Colorado. We have the habeas going on at the federal level. You have the amicus that was filed attached to that. You have now the DOJ's statement of interest in her case. And that's where it lays right now. The habeas corpus, because what we're looking for is, listen, she should be out on appeal. Let her be out on appeal. That's all. The habeas is just saying civil rights. The DOJ has come in and said, okay, we're investigating for civil rights violations, under the weaponization idea. And the federal judge has basically said, count 1 is cool. You can proceed with that or refile after a year. So that's the state that things are in right now. There's a lot of good developments, and there's clear acknowledgement that that things are being looked at a federal level. but they have about a month to respond to this ruling regarding the habeas. So this is from U.S. Magistrate Scott Varholic. So there's a lot going on. And I'm going to play some messages. I have one from Tina and then one from someone else as well. Yep. Again, thank you to Trennis. Thank you to that whole team. Thank you to Peter Tickton. Thank you to everyone on the teams here in Colorado. Thank you. Thank you to Patrick Byrne. The trial court made it clear that the central reason driving the refusal to continue her bond was the misguided conclusion she was a danger to the community. Yeah, because of her statements about the illegal features of it. Yeah. That's actually a great point, because that was what he basically said in there was, because you will keep telling lies about elections and the voting machines and continue to erode trust, you're a danger to the community. No, there's no violence, but basically it's like you're going to keep lying because you want to be famous, and you're just an evil woman is basically what he said. You're just a horrible person. So because you're going to continue, and I have no reason to believe you will not continue to go and lie and create distrust in the voting systems and the process of our government here. Your egregious lies based on nothing. Because of that, denied. You may not bond out, which is ridiculous. Tokyo drone, not necessarily. It depends. It depends. Let's say, like, yeah, I mean, that's not going to happen. I really don't believe that's going to happen. But that's where it sits regarding that ruling. They have now a month to respond to this recent ruling from the judge that says you can proceed with the habeas with only the free speech issue, or you can, exhaust all legal remedies for the other two counts, and then refile, but it has to be a year later. So no, it's not necessarily one more year of jail. That's not necessarily what's going on. Yes, that is. We are just at the U.S. District Court as well. But anyways, those things are currently on hold. Now, there are a lot of things that are laid out in there, and that could be helpful to a federal investigation, whatever it might turn into. But again, think of what these people are guilty of. I mean, let's say that this actually gets a fair shot and then a legitimate investigation comes along, or that some of these filings are successful very shortly. They're depriving, this innocent woman of her rights. I mean, I don't know, like false imprisonment. How many charges can you throw at all of these people? And many of this could be federal as well, because again, this is regarding a federal election. But let me break it up. I'm going to stop talking a little bit. Yes, and for the appeal itself, thank you again, Linda, it has to go through the Colorado Court of Appeals. And then the 10th Circuit, Federal District, SCOTUS. So, again, the state appeal is already in motion. What we want right now is Tina out on appeal. She's got a long road ahead of her for all of this in the first place. What we really want is she needs to be out. It would be great if these people would all get arrested for, the gross violation of rights and abuse of power that they've all committed. But Tina's got a journey ahead of her. So before I play this message again, if you want to donate to Tina to help her in her case, tinapeters.us. I've had it up in the lower the entire time. tinapeters.us. Go there, scroll down a little bit, donate to Tina's Legal Defense. It will take you to this page. It says Tina Peters Legal Fund. This goes to a trust. This must be used for her legal defense and only for her legal defense. If you would like to donate to her legal defense, this is the only place that you can do it. So please do that. TinaPeters.us. You'll see 2 links, one for Tina's Give Send Go. If you want to support her that way, for her legal defense, TinaPeters.us, and click on the button that says Donate to Tina's Legal Defense. End of story. All right, now I'm going to play a message from Tina. How much time do we got left? Not much time. So you can hear from Tina herself and stop listening to my voice. Please continue to pray, but here is Tina this week.
Hey, Joe. Listen, I wanted to call you today and call Jared, but I wanted to just tell you how much I appreciate you and everything you've done. And a lot of it I probably won't even know until I'm out of here, but I wanted to tell you specifically. I talked to John today, and, because of just, people butting heads and that sort of thing and personalities along the way, I've never heard him, he hasn't said anything bad, but I've never heard him say something like what he said to me today. This is what he said. He says, Joe has really come through for you. He said he has been so loyal to you all along. And I thought to myself, that was really a nice thing to make a point of saying. And I just wanted to let you know that that's what he said about you. And it's true. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate you so much. So I'll get the list all, get it approved. They just approved where I can actually, I guess yesterday, where I can actually call the attorney and be on a, what would you call it, Jared, a protected line or whatever, non-recordable line. So
secure, non-recordable line.
Everything is just moved. Everything is just moved super slow, but that's the way. Maybe I'll be able to even get that through. So we'll see. But I'm so grateful to you, and I want to let you know how much I appreciate you. And hey, I'm that Carpaccio, and what was the other thing, Jared? I had that night that appetizer was the Carpaccio and the green. I can't remember what the greens are called. Oh,
Arugula?
Correct. Not arugula. Yeah, that's what it was. So good. I'm dreaming of that. Jared, I probably won't be able to do a ribeye right out of here because my stomach's not ready for a full heavy meat meal yet. But anyway, let's do that and whatever else to celebrate. And, I just hope it's soon. But anyway, I just wanted you to know that, Joe, how much I appreciate you, and I wanted to pass that along, what John had said about you today. So love you lots. Thank you so much, and hope to see you soon.
All right, and I want to play next before we run out of time. This is a message from a good friend of Tina's. And I'm just going to put up the picture of Tina with her birthday cake because it's one of my favorites. While I play this one. But again, remember, just everybody, please keep Tina in your prayers. And Tina's going to need to chill. She's gone through a lot. And yes, her appeal process is going to be a long process and very expensive. So again, if you guys can help her at tinapeters.us, it's greatly appreciated. Here's a message for Tina.
Hey, Tina, it's Rich. We love you so much. We're so proud of you out here. Can't wait to come down and see you. I'm going to get logged in to do that. I need you to get out and walk in the sunshine. It's going to start getting warm. Find somebody you can walk and talk with and just go out there and walk and suck up the sun, because you're missing that vitamin D down there, and that's a killer. As soon as you start taking in that sunshine, it's going to make you feel so much better. This is what happened to me when I was out there in Beaumont, Texas. So just walk and get in the sun. Let us know if there's anything you need, anything you want us to do. Everybody out here loves you. People are praying for you. People want you to succeed, and they want to get you out of there. Just got back from DC, and the power brokers out there are working to get you out. Nothing's going on here in Colorado. Love you so much. All done.
So again, thank you to Rich for that message. And briefly, I will talk about the appeal. And then I'm going to hop off of here. But again, remember, you guys, please, I'll put some of these details regarding what I said here today up on my X account. I'll pass that along so that it can be posted on Tina's X as well. And please share this and remind people to be here at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, because what we're going to talk about tonight and the person that you're going to hear from is going to shed a lot of light onto what has happened to Tina and how bad the placement of certain people in positions of power can be. And we've seen this at a national level. Yeah, carpaccio does sound good. It's nice to hear her think about food and things like that. She talked about she just wants some good food. Man, I miss her. But on the issue of appeal, again, I'm going to summarize because I only have a couple minutes. I've got to jump into something. But issues are that the district court basically was unjust in denying her motion to dismiss based on immunity under the supremacy and privileges or immunities clauses. It's filed in the appeal. And this is regarding the preservation of election records. This was touched on in the amicus brief. This has been touched on repeatedly. This is something that has been brought up by Tina and was denied to be to be allowed in the case, and it's critical to Tina's actions and to the jurisdiction of a lot of these rulings. The supremacy and the privileges and immunities clause taken to obey federal law, that she is immune from this prosecution under the supremacy and privileges and immunities clauses. Again, these were ordered by the judge that these were not sufficiently met in the habeas corpus. Insufficient evidence regarding her attempt to influence a public official, a public servant. Because remember, they're saying that in the news she's tampering with election records, right? Conspiracy to commit criminal impersonation against Gerald Wood. Jerry boy. That's nonsense. First degree official misconduct. And the appeal states that there's insufficient evidence for all these points. And then, of course, the issue that the conviction should be reversed because of the district court denied Mrs. Peters due process of law. Now, again, remember, she was not allowed to mount a proper defense. They excluded evidence and discussion of Tina Peters' actual intent, which is directly tied to the things that she was charged with. I mean, this is... We don't have mens rea in Colorado, apparently, or in the United States anymore. They stated that she was not permitted as clerk to investigate the destruction of election records, the most ridiculous part of it, especially given the media coverage. the fallacious idea that excluding evidence that the prosecution witnesses were biased and had motives to conceal relevant information. Again, looking at you, Jerry Wood, and some others. The error of the district court refusing tendered defense instructions on the statutory affirmative defense of execution of a public duty and federal constitutional affirmative defense of immunity. And thank you for that. It was COVID guidance email that restricted who could be at the trusted build. No, I don't. Best is yet to come. All I know, Joe Hoft is taking some time for himself, so I have no idea. I miss him for the time being. The Joe Hoft show is on indefinite hiatus. But if you see Joe, just let him know that we love him and praying for him. He's going through a lot of lawfare stuff himself. But this is the basis of the appeal. And again, many of these things are touched on in the amicus very well. So you have the state appeal. And let me just put this out here because I hate Jerry Wood, bro. Remember, you have stolen identity, all these charges, her misbehavior as a public official, misconduct. And in the appeal, we've played this several times. And in the appeal, they mentioned this part. I just want to highlight this part just because Jerry Wood makes me angry. This is involved providing Mr. Wood with an email address and a security key. The prosecution failed to prove David Underwood made the decision. All right, next question relates to the decision. Who had the decision, the authority to make the decision to add Gerald Wood to the computer? And give him a UB key. Did Clerk Peters? Answer, yes, she made the request. Question, she made the decision, correct? Not you? Yes. You were carrying out a task as a result of that decision, true or false? Correct. There's a lot of this. We went through extensively, broke this down on several shows. And then you have Jesse Romero and a lot of these other looters, Danny Casillas in his testimony, saying she attempted to influence Danny Casillas. Enter Gerald Wood. Criminal impersonation against Gerald Wood. But hey, Trebuchet had no idea, right? Trebuchet, that poor pastor. So again, thank you to the legal team for getting her appeal in. Linda opines, how can she influence someone who doesn't have the authority? I know. Yeah. All right, I got to run, guys. So again, tinapeters.us. Make sure you're following at Real Tina Peters. Make sure you're going to tinapeters.us. Share that. Make sure that people can, that they know where to donate. It is tinapeters.us. That's it. Donate to her legal defense there. And I will be going through and giving some updates. So you can follow me at Apollo Pappas. I like never push my socials. I'm the worst at social media because I can't stand it. But you can follow me there, and of course, make sure you're following at Real Tina Peters. I'm going to be posting stuff, hopefully every day, regarding some updates and just how Tina's doing. I miss her very much, and she's got a long road ahead of her, as do we all in this country. But keep praying for her. Keep doing good stuff. Continue to hammer home Polis and the people that I mentioned last week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a message. Hit me up on X, wherever. And If I can fill in any details, I will. But as frustrating as it is that she's still in there, we do have to have some patience. There's a lot of moving pieces. And yep, that's my email. That's funny, Jeff. But have patience, but focus on, urgently keeping her voice alive and keeping these things in the public eye, and anything that we can do, any prayers, any energy, any support that you can offer her. We'll get Tina out. So, Father, I just ask that you bless Tina Peters. I ask that you bless her legal team. I ask that you weigh in the hearts of all those who see this. Let us have patience. Yes, we are frustrated, but truth ultimately will see the light of day. May Tina be protected. May she be full in her heart, knowing that there are so many who love her and are fighting for her. Let her be proud of her actions, though she suffers, for she did the right thing and she chose to do what is right, to do her duty for her community and for her country. May she stay strong, and may those who are working to correct this nation and hold those accountable, may they be fortified and protected. In your holy name we pray, amen. All right. Love you all. See you guys. And make sure you are here at 4 p.m. Eastern time today, because that is going to be a big one. See you later.
Hi, Tina Peters here.
See, today they come after you if you're investigating.
Yeah.
That was the